Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Geeky Gamer Podcast featuring Ken, Bill, Miller, and John. We're playing the Linen Tapestry this week. This is session 0, so that means we're going to do some creative character creations. We need money to do production stuff. Geeky Gamer Podcast Patreon, if you want to be the first. It wouldn't be the worst thing you did all day. All lowercase letters. Mr. Interrupt do music. Couchfire Media does productions. Trois Replay Production seems to be MIA. And I know that the artwork that we'll see today and the backgrounds of the character creation episode that we're going to make are by... Who are they by, John? Who are they by?
Brazilian artist by the name of Ralph Damiani. Fantastic artist. If you want any more, I can quickly link them. But
yeah, these are great.
Yeah.
So, what are we doing?
So we're going to go through, as you said before, session 0, character creation for the playtest of the Legends of Venice, the introductory story. So that will hopefully take 3 or 4 sessions. So to start things off, character creation. And while we're doing that, dissect, reconstruct the system. If there's anything that can be done to improve it, more than happy to take on, make notes. I'm after the most enjoyable session or experience for players interested in purchasing the system, purchasing the game, getting involved in the Kickstarter campaign once that gets going. But yeah, more than happy, ready to start. If you want to get the mundane character sheet up, please, and then we can go through it step by step. So it's 2 pages. I'm going to get character creation up.
It's
There's Bill.
a D10 based system. Is that correct?
Yep, it's just D10s. Dice pools up to 10. Yep.
Very cool. Is it so it's not percentage, it's like is there like a success fail number?
No, it's you roll X number of dice based on your dice pool.
Mm-hmm.
And then you retain a number of dice based on your skills. And then if you've got a speciality in that, you would add a number to the tally. So if you roll 6 dice, you keep 3, and you come up with a number of, say, 21. But you got a really good speciality in it, so you give you +9. That gives you a 30, and that's before if there's any detriments, if there's any changes to environment. If someone's attacking someone, they can use defense. That'll reduce the tally. So you could possibly get up to like 100, but it's not really designed as a D100 system. There's checks and balances in there just to make sure that if you have a really bad roll, you still might be able to salvage something from it.
Yeah, I would imagine getting 100 for like 10d10 is nigh impossible.
Yes. Yeah.
It's very unlikely. I'm not going to say it's never going to happen, but I think there's some odds on that saying that it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
It's like 10 to the power of, it's like winning the lottery right there. It might be more than winning the lottery.
Possibly. I'll explain more. I'll explain more when we get into the dice rolling system.
All right. So I'm ready.
So character sheets then. So the first step, and is often the last step, is you character concept, your background, your description. Who is your character? You can define your character by their career. What is it that they do? What defines them? And then also religion. It's significant in Legends of Venice. In the mundane, religion is always significant. If you were playing Linen Tapestry and you were branching out into one of the other realms, one of the high fantasy dominions or the Shadowlands, religion's not that important. But usually starting off a campaign, you start off in the mundane and then you just go off in any direction that you want. So Venice is a Roman Catholic city, but its residents enjoy kind of a tolerance towards other religions. There is a strong Jewish community there. There's a strong and growing Orthodox Christian. There is a small community of Muslims. So you could just choose which one of those religions you want. As I mentioned just briefly, it's often the last thing, so I don't expect anyone to immediately put down their career, put down their religion, or their age, or their gender straight away. It's just have that in the background, and then come back to it once you think, right, yeah, I've got it. I know what I'm doing, that sort of thing. So the second step is stats. So there are 5 categories, and these are strength, personality, intellect. Now, these 3 form your base dice pools. You have spirit, which is your characters when everything else is failing and you're on your last legs. Your spirit is what you tap into to give you a boost, to substitute the weakened dice pools with an untouched dice pool. And the last category is society, and that's a mixture of how your character fits in to the setting, and it gives you bonuses, and also traits. It gives you attachments, and that sort of thing. So we'll stick with the first 3, which is strength, personality, and intellect. So for strength, you've got 3, which is speed, control, and brawn. Speed is how fast your character can move. Your control is your dexterity, muscle memory, how good you have trained your body to do certain actions. And brawn is your bulk, your brute strength. Sometimes just the sheer size of your character. So they're used in combat. Control is your base physical combat dice pool. But you can, if you go for wrestling or other types of specific combat, you could use brawn instead. Presence, interaction, and composure, they're your character's ability to impose their will on others. That's presence. Interaction is just talking, building up conversation, and composure is how your character can cope with pressure, keep their cool. And the last 3, the intellect stats, that's attention, memory, and acumen. Attention is used for observing, spotting things. Long-range attacks, such as archery, will use attention. Memory is dipping into all that you know. And acumen is how your character deals with the here and now, their reaction, counterattacks. When they don't have time to think, that's when acumen is used. So, in each of those 9, you start off with 1 rank in them.
We just mark 1 down for each?
Yep, to start off with, they all start off with 1.
Is this why you use a pencil? Because that might change?
Yeah, please. Yeah. Sorry, I should have mentioned that at first. Yep, use a pencil.
And you always use a pencil. It's called, you always use a pencil. You never use anything but a pencil. Ever. So many times with character sheets, people are like, oh, God. Where's the character sheet? I see it on here, but
I can text it to you if you want.
Yeah.
Is there like an interactive one, or is it all? Do you have to print it out or something?
Yeah, it's a PDF.
Print it out. Yeah.
Okay.
There is a link.
If you do you have
on
Acrobat?
Discord.
Bill,
What?
do you have Adobe Acrobat?
Think so.
You do?
I think so.
Well, that's good.
Don't use pens, and I think so.
Send over the link for the character sheet now.
Yeah, I got it.
To you, Bill.
I got it.
There you go. Cool. So.
It'll just be 1 second.
No problem. Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead. Keep doing.
Right. So, as I say, of each one of those 9 starts with 1 rank in. You'll increase them. I'll come to that in a moment. Of those 3, you can choose one of those.
There you go.
Sets as your primary. So normally the cap is 3 at character creation, but the stats, whether it be strength, personality, or intellect, that you choose to be your primary, the cap goes up to 4. Spirit, again, all these start off with 1 rank in each of them, and the cap is 4 for all 3: conscience, conviction, and honor.
So you can only have a 2 in one of those. 2 ones and a 2. So a total of 4 for each stat, or a total of 4 for all?
No, it's your cap. So where you can increase it to. So if you wanted to spend the points, you could have conscience 4, conviction 4, honor 4, and it just means you've spent 9 of the adolescent ranks.
Right.
The last ones, society, they all start off at 0. They're capped at 3, but you can choose 3 of the 6 to be favoured, and those 3 can have 1 rank in them for free. Okay. So just to go through that again, strength, personality, intellect, and spirit, all of those start off with 1 ranking for free. You choose, of the first 3, you choose one of those as your primary, and that cap can go up to 4 instead of 3. Spirit is capped at 4, and society, they're all capped at 3, but you can choose any 3, and each one of those 3 starts off with 1 free rank. Okay. Then you have 20 adolescent ranks. These are effectively the skill points that your character's learned as they've gone through adolescence. Your character is presumably a young adult now, and so you've got 20 points, and you can distribute them as you see fit amongst those 18 stats. If you've got any questions on what things mean, please ask.
So there's a thing called pool at the bottom. Is that where we like add additional something?
So So the spirit, you would add up the combined totals of your conscience, conviction, and honor, and that's your spirit pool. So whenever you want your character to use one of those spirit dice pools, it costs you a spirit point. If your character's under attack, in some way, you can spend a spirit point to increase your defense. And I'll come to defense later on.
Copy.
The downsides of the spirits is that if you have a spirit stat quite high, such as up to 4, you would develop something called a moral code. And if you want to use that dice pool, you have to make sure that you're not breaking your moral code. So for conscience, it's having compassion. So whenever you want to substitute, say your character's injured, and your control's normally 6 or 7 dice, and you're sorely wounded, and you only rolled 2, or 3, or maybe 3 dice, but your conscience dice pool is say 8. You can spend a spirit point, and you give the narrator the explanation as to why you're substituting, and you would say, I need to get through this fight to protect so-and-so, because you care for that person. So conscience is you having compassion for others. Conviction is different. Conviction is you would argue that you need to use this dice pool because you're a survivor. You have to get this thing done. Not for anyone else, but for you and for your ambitions. And then for honor is if your duty calls you to do something, says you're defending the honor of someone else, or you're tasked with defending a castle during a siege, you can just write, I'm honor bound, therefore I want to substitute my depleted dice pool with the honor dice pool. So that's how the spirit dice pools work.
Really quick. So for strength, personality, intellect, and spirit.
Yeah.
How many ranks do I get to allocate?
Amongst those and the society traits, you get 20 ranks.
20 ranks.
Oh, wow.
And each one raises a die 1, or how does that work?
So on the left-hand side, you've got rank, and they're what you're purchasing. The dice pool for the first...
Oh, that's adding up all the other stuff.
Yeah. So the dice pool is double your rank. So if you've got a rank of 3, you've got a dice pool of 6.
Okay,
You've got a rank of 4, you've got a dice pool of 8.
So I would just allocate my ranks, 20 ranks right now, right?
Yeah.
But you already get... Did you already get like 12? Or...
Yeah, you get 1
you
rank
already get
each.
15. It seems like you already get 15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's you start off with 1 in all the strength, all the personality, all the intellect, all the spirit, and then you choose 3 of the society backgrounds. And I'll go into the backgrounds now. So,
Right. I wasn't gonna mess with backgrounds at all yet.
No, that's fine. With society, that because it ties you in, you might not be in a position at this point where think, well, what is my character? What's my career? So, like associates is allies, people that you know, people that you can turn to for support. Are they in your what the system would call sphere of influence, or are they in a different sphere of influence?
I'm a lone wolf.
You're okay. Or backing is your position in your job, in your career, how much authority you have.
No, I'm broke, dog. Sorry. Just gonna use all those ranks for my strength.
Yeah.
That's what I do on all our build games.
I know you do. Piece of shit. I don't see backgrounds. Where are those? I see skills, expertise.
I was dipping into vampire there. It's society. So just below spirit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you got associates, which is your allies, close friends, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You've got backing, which is your rank. This is how much authority you have within your sphere of influence, whether you're in a city guard or a sea captain, that sort of thing. That gives you authority. and dice pools, but also gives you a wage. So if you have 0 backing, you're unemployed. So you have no lone wolf. Contacts is
Making myself.
yeah. So contacts is people who you know, people who you can turn to for information, and likewise, they will turn to you for information as well. Estate is a mixture of your starting wealth. So if you're a noble, you'd want to have a high estate. It's also a measure of your education, and it's also how much money you start off with, that character creation. So if you've got 0 estate, you're penniless. Mentor is a character who looks after you. They train you. You're their protege. For a longer campaign, this mentor would actually be a severed soul of some kind, someone who's, depending on how many points you put into it, someone who is either very powerful and spends very little time with you, or someone who's of medium power but spends a lot of time with you. And the last one is network. Network is how far all your other society traits stretch. So if you have network of 0, everything that you've got, your backing and your associates, is just tied to the district that you're in. Backing 1 could be all of Venice. Backing 2 could be Venice and another part of the Mediterranean, and so on and so on and so on. But it means that all the society traits that you've got is somehow applied across all of them, because that's your network. It also increases the number of languages that you know. Okay. So that's the basics for society. Society also has a pool. What this pool does is increases the number of dice that you retain. So I'll briefly go over the system again. So your dice pool determines how many dice you roll. The number of dice that you keep, in addition to any 10s that you roll, is based on your skill. But if you have background, a society trait that's relevant to what you're getting into, like if you're searching for rumors, you're investigating, you're trying to assert your control over a potential riot, you could use your normal skills, expertise, but then you can say, right, I'm going to apply my position as a city captain in the guard, and I'm going to increase the number of dice that I keep. You'd spend a background point, and you'd get to keep those extra dice. Okay? So I will let you guys mull over, and then let me know when you're happy to move on.
So 1s are in everything. I'm choosing 20 ranks to go in the left-hand side.
Yeah.
And they can go up to 3 unless I want to be difficult and make 1 or 2 of them 4, right?
So you choose. So spirit, they can go up to 4.
Okay.
Of strength, personality, and intellect, you choose one of those 3 to be your primary.
Okay.
And then
That's all I need to know.
yeah.
Awesome.
So can we, like, that initial first rank, like, say in honor, can I drop that to 0 and move it somewhere else?
No. It's free. You're not losing anything by not being able to allocate it to somewhere else.
All right. I don't know if I did it right, but and we can add in that 20. We can add some to the society, or no?
Yeah, of that 20, you can. So you choose your 3 favored. So you could say backing, contacts, and network. They all start off with those 3 start off with 1, and you've got say 4 adolescent ranks left over from chucking stuff into strength, personality, spirit. You can then say, right, well, I want to increase backing to 3, network to 2, and contacts up to 2. And that's how you'd spend up the last 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain the difference between contacts and associates?
Yep, sure. I shall go to the section of the book. I'll read it out.
Okay, yeah,
I can find it.
maybe.
Yeah. So, associates represent narrator characters who have become good allies for your or followers for the character. Associates either love the character or owe them a great deal of respect. So you would have, for each rank that you have, would gain you a number of allies. Now, allies are people who are willing to put their life on the line for you, because they would expect you to do the same for them. And then, in addition to this, your character has also a group of followers, and this is all within associates. Okay. For contacts represent narrator characters who are contacts between the character and other spheres of influence. The relationships are based on a mutual gain, and unlike allies, a contact is using the character for their own gains as well as the player using their contacts. Contacts and connections allow them to get a boost for seeking out information. If you want to investigate what's going on in a bigger intrigue or conspiracy, and you believe that conspiracy taps into a sphere of influence, you would get in touch with your contact and they would give you information, but then you would owe them back. A contact wouldn't put their life on the line, and they don't follow you. They're like you. They see you as a source of information. Tit for tat.
And he's all in society, and that's part of the 20, or is that something separate?
All part of the 20.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
So everything underneath stats is subject to the 20 ranks.
Yeah. And then you just add your spirit up to the pool, is that correct?
So you add up you'd add up the ranks in your spirits, and that's your pool. So if you've got 333, you've got spirit pool of 9.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you do the same in society, but it's your 3 favored, the ranks in your 3 favored are all added up, and that's your society pool.
Your 3 favorite.
Yeah, and those 3 favored start off with 1 free rank.
Sure. Can you just add? I mean, you could add 1 to each and every one of them, couldn't you?
Yeah, if you want it to be
With
a jack of all
points.
trades. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do that, but I mean, that is possible.
There's nothing there's nothing in the system to stop you from doing that. It just means you're far from being a master in a specific field. But if that's the character you want to play, you can play that character.
Okay. So, tell me if this is right or wrong.
Yeah.
For my ranks on society, I have 1s in everything.
So, okay, so which are your 3 favored?
3 favored?
Yeah, so in society, you choose 3 of them, 3 of the 6, and they're your favored. And you start off with 1 free rank in that. So if you've got one,
okay.
Yeah.
My favored, right?
Yeah.
I thought you got a free rank in all of them.
No, not in society, just 3.
Okay, cool. Then in that case, I'll pick those 3. Otherwise, on strength, personality, intellect, spirit, I've got 222, 322, 333, 334.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
All right, sweet.
How about you, Miller? Where are you at? Is it making sense?
Yeah, I think so. I was just trying to figure out which ones I want favored in society because it's only those 3 favored ones that make up the pool, correct?
Correct. You can spend ranks in a 4th one, but it doesn't contribute to your pool.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
So on my
I'm
stats, I have 414, 132, 114. Oh, do you need me to go slower?
So,
I can start again.
And what have you, no. So which ones have you got for society?
And then I have backing, mentor, and network. So it's 113. Because I got a network.
Yeah. So you got brilliant. Right.
And then you gotta learn. Need a mentor.
Yeah. So you've got speed 4. So
Yes.
fast. Speed is used for your base damage. So it's the speed of how fast you punch, how fast you kick, how fast you swing. Control is 1, so you'd have a dice pool of 2
Okay.
for most combat. And brawn of 4. So you are built like a brick proverbial house. Okay, cool. Brilliant. Right. And then you've got, what was your personality?
I got a 1 when it comes to presence.
Okay, a gentle giant sort of approach there.
Yeah.
Innocuous giant, right?
3 for interaction.
Right. Okay.
And a 2 for composure.
Right. Okay. Brilliant. So, underneath dice, you double your rank for all of them. For spirit, personality, intellect, and spirit.
No, I get it.
And so you just double them, and that's your dice pool. So your 1 in control gives you a dice pool of 2. Except when it comes to society, it's the number of ranks that you keep, and it's 1 for 1. So if you've got network of 3, you've got retain 3. Okay. Right. So the next stage is.
So even if you have like a 3 and something in society, it's still a 1 for retain, correct?
So what you retain is equal to your rank. So if you've got 3 network, you retain 3 for any roles relevant to your network.
Okay, copy that.
Right. So the next step is skills. So a little bit over on the right hand side of the character sheet, you've got skills and expertise. Your skills are the abilities in bold caps lock. Agility, empathy, stealth, athletics, perception, survival, and so forth. So all of your natural skills, which is those 6 that I've just mentioned, starts off with 1 free rank. They are innate to a character.
Okay.
And then you have 20 ranks to distribute amongst all of the skills, in addition to the 6 that you've just got for free. So this is where you might want to think back about your character's career. What do they do? What's relevant?
So it's in the
And the 6 that
24
are for free are
in the 24
Sorry.
different boxes.
Yep. So as a general guide, you've got your 6 natural, which is the most commonly used skills.
I see. Right. Okay.
You've got combat, so you've got guile and influence, they're social combat. Melee and unarmed, that's close combat. And archery and thrown is ranged combat. And then the rest is professional and academic. And they're just to fit in with your character. You can be as focused or as spread out as you want at this stage.
But do all of these start off with one, or just?
No, just the. You'll see on the left-hand side, natural.
Yeah,
and you've
natural.
got that's beside those 6: agility, athletics, perception, empathy, stealth, and survival. They all start off with 1 rank. Yeah.
Because you're alive.
Yes. Yeah.
Or undead.
Oh, undead. Yes. I'm not sure an undead would have any empathy, but yes.
And what are the caps on these?
3.
3.
And
just
so
to be
three
pedantic
here
here.
on these guys. Okay.
No, I'm talking now.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, you don't get to interrupt me right now.
Bill has a stick.
Shut up. So shelter, that gets 1, right?
No. Survival. The little, if it's in caps lock, it's a skill. If it's the little ones underneath, they're your expertise.
Okay, continue, Ken. Sorry.
Oh, so I'm wrong about. So empathy and perception are a skill, and they're not natural.
You know they are. Yeah, everything right of natural are natural skills.
All right. Cool.
So yes, you start off with 1 in perception, 1 in empathy, 1 in stealth, 1 in survival, 1 in athletics, 1 in agility.
Mm-hmm.
I dislike Adobe Acrobat. That is all.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that too. I mean, it is a.
Yeah, they keep stripping away all the facilities, and then you have to pay your subscription to get them all back. Yep.
You're making me math a lot.
Oh, sorry. It's at this point where if any of you have an idea of what your career is, the narrator, i.e. me, would give you 4 additional ranks in what I would think is relevant skills.
I want to be in the brute squad.
You want to be in the brute squad? What you mean?
Is that
you
wrong?
mean city guard?
Yeah, the city guard. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, the city guard.
I
would give
constable. Guy.
Okay. Then what I will say is, I would give you 1 rank in influence, 1 additional rank in melee, 1 additional rank in perception. Now, are you high up in the city guard, or are you just a PC plod?
I think I'm in, in the middle. Middle. I walk around the streets at night. I might have been higher up in the past, but I was kind of bumped down a little bit, so I don't have a ton of responsibility.
Oh, okay.
I just make sure people don't get robbed at night.
Does your character have any authority with over any other city guard? Are you
I
like
mean,
a mid-rank?
It's probably the recruits. He busts them up a little bit. The first, the newbies, they're under him, and then they all get promoted above him pretty quick, I would imagine.
Yeah. All right. I would give you an additional rank in athletics. The reason I was asking about the rank is if you were going for an officer, I'd give you a rank in bureaucracy.
Yeah.
But by the sounds of it, you're more of a hands-on rather than bureaucratic.
Yeah, he's more hands-on, I think. I mean, but he's convicted, not conflicted.
Okay. When you say convicted, that makes him sound like he's been arrested, and he's
he's got conviction. He's convicted.
Right, no.
He's got honor.
So no, cool. So 1 in athletics, 1 in influence, 1 in melee. What was the third one going to be? Oh, and 1 in perception.
Okay. Can you give me that one more time? Because I can't.
Yeah.
I'm having. So what's the first one?
1 in athletics.
Oh, athletics. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
1 in influence.
Influence.
You got to
gotcha. Yeah.
bully people.
1
in melee, so you can hit people.
Yeah.
And 1 in perception. So you can spot the perps.
Perception. Okay, that's where that is. All right. Thank you.
No worries. Next. Idea for career-wise.
Yeah, so for my guy, he doesn't exactly have a career. He's one of the Medici, like a cousin. He's a little younger, and he's basically just extending his time, or he's training and learning how to take over part of the business. So right now he's just training for that, as long as he can until his family forces him to, take charge of something.
Okay. Right. So I would give you 1 in law, which is academic. 1 in bureaucracy. I would give you the choice, either 1 in guile or 1 in influence, because I'm guessing your character will be either wanting to step up the ladder, and in the financial world, you either get the money by scam or by legitimate deals, so to speak. So I'll let you choose one of those two that you get free ranking.
All right, I'll go with influence.
Yep. And then 1 in perception, because perception's all sort of do with like recall, estimating, trying to work out, trying to see something that's not there, like the best deal, that sort of thing. Okay.
All right.
Bill. Oh, so yeah, you just so at the beginning we were going through, like, the first step is often the last step, and that is your character's age, gender, career, religion. So Ken and Miller had a bit more time than you to think about this. So career is effectively what your character does, and at this point, if you've got an idea of what your character does, how they fit into the setting, I can give you 4 ranks if you want to come back to it. I'm more than happy to do that.
I was just figuring this bullshit out. I think he's a priest.
Okay.
But I'm thinking that he was the 4th or 5th son or something.
Yeah.
And so he grew up, knowing like lordship, and maybe like
Was he a noble?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, fuck it. He'll be a noble.
Noble
If I get to
priest.
choose, why not? Do you want to be a noble? Sure. Yeah, he was noble. He's noble as hell. What he was. I was gonna say he was the gentry class. Fuck that.
Okay.
Nah. He's noble as hell. But he's a priest.
Right. I would give you an additional rank in performance for the oratory, that sort of thing. So it's 1 in performance, which is professional and academic. 1 in bureaucracy, because obviously you're a priest and a noble.
Let me find bureaucracy. Ah, yes, indeed. What are you trying to say about the priesthood, John?
Nothing? No.
What are you trying to say?
And then 1 in influence.
That's right.
And 1 in empathy. Well, the confessions that you take.
Empathy.
Okay. So I got 1 in empathy, 1 in influence, 1 in performance, and 1 in bureaucracy.
1 in So even if you don't put any ranks into empathy, you've got 2 in empathy.
Right.
Because you start off with 1, and I've given you 1.
Yeah.
You know, I think he is a little empathetic, your guy. I think you're a little empathetic. I think you get a raw deal.
I do get a raw deal.
I think you're an empathetic guy. I think I'm the one with no empathy.
I'm an empathetic guy.
So we've got, trying to think of the characters. So we've got outside noble, who's a financier, a priest noble, and city guard. Brilliant. So the next is expertise and combat maneuvers. So on the second sheet, there is combat maneuvers, top half. So combat in this game isn't just rolling dice, keeping dice, I've hit them, yada yada. Combat maneuvers is there to add a bit of flavor, so you can build up a style of fighting for your character. So if you wanted to have a character who is a fencer and you want to focus on quick nimble attacks, no armor, you want to be a duelist, all that sort of thing is available in the game. Okay. So with it, once again, you've got 20 adolescence ranks to distribute amongst expertise and combat maneuvers. Rank 2 combat maneuvers. I'll come to that. I'm going to assume there's going to be lots of questions about combat, especially from you, Ken, because by the sounds of it, I think your character's the most physical.
Yeah, well, he's very specific. He's specialized. He's specialized. He's not like a sword fighter.
My guy's a sword fighter.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So a sword fighting priest, noble.
Oh yeah, dude.
Right. Cool. Okay. So
he gets into duels. I'm thinking that he got into the priesthood to kind of get out of trouble. I think he's a drunkard and a slut and a lush who went to the priesthood to get out of trouble.
Or he was sent there as punishment.
Or he's sent there as punishment.
It's entirely that.
That.
One of the other. Your character wouldn't be the first to go 2 steps too far and then get booted off into the church. Brilliant.
I'm gonna stab somebody. What?
Okay. So again, you get 3 ranks in certain things. So you have 1 free rank in dodge. So underneath the natural, you've got expertise, but they're in italics, and they're your defenses. So underneath agility is dodge. You get 1 rank in that for free. Underneath athletics, is resistance. You get 1 rank in that. And so on. So for empathy, it's got reflection. Start off with 1. Perception's got awareness. Start off with 1. Overlooked under stealth, and survival has evasion.
What page are you on? Are you on page 1 or 2?
Top page.
This is this is the expertise. So the first page.
The first page.
Yeah.
Oh, expertise.
Yeah. So they're underneath the skills in lowercase.
Mm-hmm.
So, have any of you taken ranks in melee?
Yeah.
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, you get a free rank in parry. And then on the back of on the second sheet, if this works, along here, underneath melee, write in the following combat maneuvers. You have a combat maneuver called parry, which allows you to parry, and flat of the blade. Let me know when you've done that.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Anyone taken any ranks in unarmed?
I have unarmed.
no.
Okay. For those who've taken unarmed, you get 1 free rank in block as the expertise.
Mm-hmm.
And then going back to the combat maneuvers on the second sheet, under unarmed, you have 3 combat maneuvers. You've got block, which is your defense, break free, and grapple.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know at least Miller has got influence. If you've got any ranks in influence, you get 1 rank in resolve for free.
Where's that resolve?
Resolve is underneath influence. So if you got a rank in influence, you get a rank in resolve.
Nice.
And if you got a rank in guile, you get a rank in savvy. Okay. Did anyone take any ranks in archery?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. You don't get any free ranks in expertise, but you do get the 2 combat maneuvers called aim and extended shot. Anybody take any ranks in thrown?
Roan? No.
Nope. Bill? Miller? Nope. Okay. Anyone take any ranks in ride?
No.
No. Okay, so none of you know how to ride a horse.
No, but I should.
Okay.
Give me a second. I will take a rank and ride.
You don't have
I
to.
probably should too.
Yeah, it doesn't make
ride
sense
and
for
rank.
noble not to be able to ride.
Okay. If you want to rejig, that's fine. If you do choose to have at least 1 ride, 1 rank and ride, you do have 2 combat maneuvers called
Oh wait,
mount. Oh,
I do have a rank and ride.
all right. Okay. So going back to combat maneuvers,
Mm-hmm.
You have mounted defense and mounted combat.
Well, let me question this then.
Yeah.
Based on the time period, do we all know how to ride a horse?
People might have experience of getting on a horse,
Like,
trot it, but not being able to ride it at any speed, nor have any ability to fight on a horse.
Yeah, well, that's the distinction I'm saying is
Yeah.
I'm not saying my dude can fight on a horse, but I'm saying he definitely knows how to ride one and can gallop in one.
Yeah.
Do I need to take a rank in it?
it's entirely up to you. So, for example, the way that the system works is you've got ride 0, you get on a horse, and you've got 6 dice in control. You roll your 6, and if you get a 10, you do okay.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
In that case, since there's no negatives, it's fine. I just didn't want it to be like, it's like being like, in LA and having no drive skill. Like, you have to know how to drive,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Right, and the last one. Did anybody put any ranks in warfare? I don't think any of you will have, because none of you are trained soldiers, but could be wrong.
Well, I took one. I figured part of my schooling.
All right, okay. Right, so underneath warfare, under combat maneuvers, put down you have flank and stall. So flank only works if you have someone else with you who has flank, because there's a tree of combat maneuvers where you fight as a unit. Stall is the other tree for warfare, and that's dueling, you versus one other person. Okay. If any of you want any full descriptions on what I've just told you to write down, just let me know.
Could you go back to ride? So you have mountain defense, and what was the other one?
Mounted combat. Yeah.
Nice.
Right. Yep.
So I definitely will take a warfare because I want to be a duelist. Unless there's a better way to do it.
No. If you want to be a duelist, warfare.
Oh yeah, he is a duelist, absolutely.
Yeah.
Gets pissed off, throws the glove. The other priests are like, no. Right.
Yeah. For historical accuracy, Roman Catholics, I think priests are forbidden from drawing blood. So I think they're only allowed to hit people with
Flat
blood.
of the blade, baby.
Flat of the blade. There you go.
Flat of the blade.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's stall/duelist. That's a word I don't know.
So stall is just stall is the combat maneuver.
Oh, to feint, to sort of like.
Yeah, it's.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And then what's the other one?
Flank.
Flank. Oh, see. So all right. So Miller and I are gonna flank.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So if you were fighting the same person, you can give each other bonuses because you will be
can.
at the same
This
time.
is warfare. Yeah, I don't have
This
any
is warfare.
No, I don't
Well,
fight
it
wars.
doesn't really. Yeah, it doesn't really fit with your character as a.
Better get in there. We're gonna flank you.
It's up to you.
Yeah, no, do that.
So you've got 20 ranks to distribute amongst expertises and rank 2 combat maneuvers. Now, rank 2, you can only get a rank 2 combat maneuver if you've got 2 ranks in the combat skill that you want to go for. So, for example, if you've got melee 2, you can buy a rank 2 melee combat maneuver and get that for free. Oh, you can get that with one of your ranks. If you want to go for a rank 2 unarmed, but you've only got unarmed 1, you can't get it. So you need to have a rank in the skill equal to the combat maneuver that you're wanting to learn, or in this case, purchase with your adolescent rank. So you need to have at least 2.
So, for example, right now we have under melee, we have parry. Is that rank 1?
Yep. Parry and flat of the blade are both rank 1.
I have parry and bashing. Does that mean anything?
No.
Did I do it wrong?
Right. No. So that's the expertise. So parry is your defense. The
Oh.
bashing, hacking, piercing, and slashing,
Okay.
they're ranks in a style of combat. So
I
based on the
see.
weapon that you've got, you can use that. But when it comes to the combat maneuvers, you'll have parry and flat of the blade. But if you don't use bladed weapons, flat of the blade's not relevant. But the parry always is.
Oh, I see. So you just fill out the top. It looks like it's in italics with the rank, and then
No, the italics are ones you get for free if you have a rank in the category.
Yeah, they're defenses.
Yeah, so we've already done the categories, and if if there's an italicized thing that you have a rank in your category, the italics you get one rank in. Now we're doing the second tier skills. It's the wrong words, but everything underneath the categories. Now, my question is, does the same rule apply? For example, I don't have anything in knavery. Could I take disguise, or do I have to have a rank in knavery first?
You need to have a rank in knavery.
Okay, I dig.
Yeah. Is this priest going to be also?
No. He doesn't have any knavery. He has 0 knavery.
Okay.
No. Well, so I was saying I have a rank in warfare to be able to get the the dueling maneuvers, but I don't think I have any skills in warfare, right?
So have you? But you've got.
I just know how to duel.
As long as you got one rank in warfare, that's fine.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really make sense to take guerrilla or leadership. Like that has nothing to do with dueling. So
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's fine. Okay. So, combat maneuvers. This is where it gets quite in depth. There is a link on Discord that I put up last week or the week before.
Mm-hmm.
And the Severed Souls character. I think this is the one. So, not expecting you to go through all of it now. But if you go to... so, starting from page... 14, 15, 3.2 combat traits, that gives you a list of all the combat maneuvers. So, for example, has anyone got melee 2?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Melee 3.
Yeah.
You got
I do.
melee 3, brilliant.
Yeah,
Right.
melee 3.
Okay.
We're all gonna kill people. It's gonna be awesome.
Right. So for melee, you've got your basic melee. You got your general. So for you've got quick draw is a rank 2, charge, which is you run in with a spear, like a reach weapon, or just run in and just whack someone, gain extra points. Brace, which is if you've got a spear or whip, ranged weapon, you can counter a charge. Based on, do people have any specialties under melee? Has anyone chosen a particular, it's bashing or hacking, piercing?
So I was thinking of piercing and slashing.
Okay.
Yep.
And then of course parry.
Same one.
Parry. Nope, that's fine. So, depending on what sort of weapon you've got, so when we get to equipment, it'll all tie together. Based on the weapon that you've got, that could give you style possibilities. So if you've got a long sword, you can either use that sword as piercing or slashing.
I'd have a rapier.
Or rapier.
Or a
So,
saber.
right. So saber is more for slashing, rapier is more for piercing. So rank 2, you could, if you wanted to, purchase the piercing proficiency. And what that does is whenever an outcome of a piercing attack is at a certain standard, so with this system, if you get success ranges from 1 all the way up to 5. So if you got partial success, if you get 1 success, that's partial. You've hit, but you do less damage. Competent is you hit square, don't get any bonuses, no detriment. And then from 3, 4, 5 upwards, you have outstanding, all the way up to like amazing, that sort of thing. So with piercing, if you do really well and your attack gets an outstanding success, which is 3, the attack also gets the penetration tag, and penetration makes your weapon more effective against armor, that sort of thing. I think it might be best if you guys have a read over the combat maneuvers, like just spend points and put like an asterisk next to the combat maneuvers that you want to get, and then come back to saying, right, I want to go for that. So you could say, right, I know I want to get 2 melee, so I'll allocate 2 adolescent ranks towards 2 combat maneuvers. I don't know what they are yet.
These are part of the 20 that we...
Yeah, part of the 20. Yeah. Okay. So...
like multi-attack and moving target. Is that what you're talking about? Or is that...
That sounds like a system.
Oh, that's system.
This one... Yeah, this
combat
one
maneuvers.
Is,
okay, I see it. Daze and slender and...
Yeah, they're the effects. So that document there is the rules. What we need, if you could get up, is the Severed Souls character PDF. I can send you the link via Discord.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll send you a link. GM guides. There, just sent a link. Okay. So, where are we at? Are people comfortable with the 20 ranks amongst expertises and potential combat maneuvers?
Yeah, I didn't take any combat maneuvers other than the ones you just get. I just allocated ranks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. No, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely...
I figured I'd do that later once I understand a little better.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the session 1, when we start, if people want to change what they've got in the character sheet, more than happy to. Just create the character as you're playing it. Okay. So the next step, still on sheet 1, it's a collection of things. So the first section is attachments. So on the first page, underneath stats, are your attachments. You've got up to 5 attachments to record, and these attachments are what ties you to this setting. No characters on island, so this is, you could put down your family, could be your ambition, one of the deadly sins. But what generates a lot of your attachments is your society. So, if you have... So, did anybody take any ranks in associates?
Yeah,
associates? Yeah, nope.
So, nope. Okay. So with associates 1, you have 1 ally.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Just realised it. Yeah. Okay, so you've got one ally. That ally is someone, as mentioned before, is willing to put their life on the line for you. But you also have a bond with them. So next to ally, under attachments, you'd put the name of that ally. So with your character being from outside Venice, it's your choice. Is this ally someone who is already in Venice? Or is this someone who is outside of Venice that's from your home city of Florence? It's up to you. Is this the person, the reason why you're in Venice? Or is this person just a close friend, member of the family, someone who owes you a blood debt or you grew up with? It's entirely up to you. But that ally is an attachment. Okay. Next would be, did anybody take any ranks in organization? Oh, sorry, in backing.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your backing in? Next to organization, jot down what that organization is. So for Ken, that would be City Guard.
Yeah.
So that's your City Guard. That's your organization.
Well, the Night Watch.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Night Watch. Yeah. Yeah. There is a specific faction that's kind of secret in the setting.
Yeah.
But I'm more than happy to get you into that if you want. But that's like a discussion for another time. Okay. Cool. So, Bill, did you have a rank in backing?
Yeah, I have one in backing. I was thinking it was either his family or the church.
Okay, so family is a separate one. So, so organization would be church. And Miller, did you have backing?
Yeah, I took 2 ranks in it actually, and I was thinking that was just the Medici family, but since that's different here, would be like a banking guild.
They are an organization.
Yeah.
It's both.
Ironically, there is a major character in the setting, who is the one who effectively sets up the Medici banking. So, when you mentioned that, I thought, oh, there's a lot of potential there. So, you could have the Florentine Bank as your organization, or if you want to be someone who's learning the ropes and you're wanting to be involved in one of the earliest banking institutes, you could be in the Venetian banking. You could be in one of the guilds so that you have a license to issue promissory notes, that sort of thing. So again, your organization could either be in Venice or outside of Venice, just like your ally. You kind of like, you've got one foot in each world, outside of Venice and inside of Venice. Okay. Next is did anybody pick mentor?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I didn't. Never mind.
Miller, did you pick mentor?
No.
No. Okay. How many ranks did you put into your mentor?
Just
Ken?
one.
Just one. Okay. At 1 rank, you choose. I mean, make up a name. If you've got an idea of who he is, what sort of sphere of influence he's in, is he a high up member of the city guard, or is he someone in a different aspect or a different area of Venice? It's entirely up to you. Okay. Right. So, of those attachments that you've written down, so there's one ally, organization, patron.
So I would put that in patron. The
yeah.
name?
So of your mentor will be under patron, or if you can't think of a name yet, just put a
I
mark
got
down. Yeah, cool. Did anyone? Was it just you, Miller, that took ranks in allies?
You mean associates?
Sorry, associates. Yeah.
Yeah, I have one in estate and network. Those are my other two.
Okay. So if you've got any ranks in associates, in addition to allies, you've also got followers, and these are a group of people who whether they work for you or they follow you, like it could be cult of personality, or just you're just a likable person, and these people follow your instructions. They're not allies, they're not going to put their life on the line, but they'll back you up. These followers is effectively a cohort, they're a group.
Right.
So next to cohort, between ally and organization, put down the nature of that cohort. So you being a banker with high rank, with like 2 ranks, these cohorts could be your subordinates, your money lenders, your debt collectors, that sort of thing.
Well, actually, what I was thinking, since he's not actively involved in the banking very much right now, I was thinking, this time period would have been when a lot of the fencing schools were getting real big. Everybody was writing their own, combat manuals, and so I'm thinking that's one of his trait. What he likes to do is go to the different schools and get the different kinds of training, because he can afford it. And so I was thinking his cohort could be basically a bunch of those other class members that he trains with a lot.
Brilliant. No, that's great. That's great. 1 second. Just bear with me with 1 moment, guys. Go. Right, I'm back. Brilliant. Okay, so I think we've got a lot of attachments. So how attachments work is, the stronger your attachment with this person, the greater the benefit they can give you. So say, for example, if someone's trying to use social combat to deceive you or force you to work against the fencing community, and the person who's attacking you doesn't know that you're a member, and they're giving a really good argument, or they're being very persuasive, you could say, yeah, that's fine, but I've got a 15-point attachment to the fencing, and that 15 points is then knocked off their attack. But at the same time, if someone decides, right, I want to get to you, I'm going to hold hostage a member of your family, they can turn that 15 points as leverage against you. So you've got to choose amongst your attachments, one that's 25, one that's 20, one that's 15, one that's 10, and one that's 5. The rest is 0. If you don't have 5, this is where you can come up with an ambition, your family, and up to 2 sins. Sins are quite important for the severed souls. So not so much now.
Mine is wrath.
Yep, okay. Stick that down.
Mine is
It's
also
already
Raph, the twin brother.
Is it really?
Oh, he's out.
Or just, I think the other one might be lust. I don't know.
You don't have to take. You don't have to go for the full lot, like a full house.
we
But yeah,
can.
if you want to pick one, pick 2. That's fine. So, Ken, what I was saying before, is because you
I was,
popped away.
I listened.
Oh,
I
you're
was
listening?
listening.
Oh,
You
right,
got
brilliant.
15
Okay.
points to give to your, like, if I wanted my patron, Vito is his name.
You give one of your attachments a rank of or a tally of 25. One of them 20, one of 15, one of 10, and one of 5. And they affect social combat.
Can we just make up allies, or do we have to have the associates?
You
and all
need
that
to have
stuff?
the associates. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do I get any attachments with network or estate?
Nope.
Okay.
But you'd
So
have one.
basically-
So you could have one for family,
Yeah.
which we'll go into.
Yep.
Ambition.
Yep.
So there's 2. A sin.
Sin.
Wrath. Yep. So that's 3. Did you have backing? I think you had backing church.
Yeah, I do.
So that's 4. Did you have a mentor?
No.
No. So, you probably would have to go for a second sin.
That's right, baby.
You
So
never went over network.
Network doesn't have an attachment.
Oh,
Neither
okay.
does estate.
Oh, nice.
Because it's intangible.
Yeah, okay.
So if people can come up to me and say, hold on, surely your network is so important that you'd put your life on the line or whatever, because it's your identity across so many areas, then that's food for thought, and I might put it in.
Yeah.
But at the
Well, my
moment, when I've
network is
played tested
important. My fellow night watchmen. They're my guys.
Yes. What's your network?
The Night Watch, or the
Sorry, the
organization is the Night Watch.
What was the rank in network that you had?
3.
3. Right. Okay. So we're moving on. We'll be moving on in a second. But for you, for rank 3, that means that all your society traits can be situated within the entire Venetian area, not just the city. You know people, so that if you want to go to Padua or Treviso or Durazzo, you can go there and people would know you, and you'll be able to apply your authority as a city guard of Venice across all of this area. You also get additional languages, but we'll come to that in a second. So have people decided on their attachments, which is
It's a 25, a 20, 15, and a 10, right?
and a 5, yeah.
Oh, and a 5.
Yeah, so there's
Oh, yeah.
5. Yeah.
I see.
Miller, you all right with those?
Yeah, I'm good.
Brilliant. Okay. Right. I think what we'll do is we'll do languages and then have a bit of a break. 5-minute break.
Sure.
That's all right.
I have about maybe 30 minutes that I can stay.
We'll plow on then. We'll plow on. Okay. So
And we can take a short break because I need some coffee anyway, and you and I could meet up later on in the week to finish if you want.
no, that'd be great. That'd be fine. Yeah. Okay. So languages. Everyone starts off with one language that they know that they can speak. If you're from Venice, you know the Venetian language. It's a sister language to Italian. It's very similar, but it's not the same. It's dialecta da mar, tongue of the sea. So if you're from Venice, that's your starting language. Miller, your starting language would be Italian. So it's not enough. The difference isn't enough for you to not understand what people are saying in Venice. But there's 2 drawbacks. One, Venetians know immediately that you're not Venetian, that you're a foreigner. Even though you're speaking the same language, you're still a foreigner.
Right.
And 2, there would still be some little parts of the dialect that you wouldn't quite understand. But it's all Italian. Anyone who's got network, gains additional languages because Ken, your character has obviously travelled across nearly all of the Venetian Republic and all of its outposts. You've been around and you've come back for whatever reason, but you know a lot of languages. So you know 3 additional languages, and I will let you choose them. So Italian is an option, but you have so many.
Is it just with Network 1?
With Network 1, you'd have 1 additional language.
Okay.
But Ken's got 3 in his network, so he knows a lot of languages.
3 additional 2 or
So
total.
Ken, in total, you would have 4 languages.
Okay.
You got Venetian, and then 3 of your choice.
What? Where are the languages? I can't seem to find them.
On the character sheets, bottom left, page 1.
No, I mean in the book. Or are we talking like German? I don't. Or like
Yeah, I didn't want to list because there are so
real
many
language.
languages. But these are
Russian,
the real languages.
Chinese.
So.
Okay. Did you have an exhaustive list of all the languages?
It's a valid
Basic.
point. It's a valid point. I might for Ken put that in the book.
You actually might know English. What is it, like 1500s right now?
Yeah. There is actually a very famous Englishman in the area. He's passed away, but John Hawkwood, very, very famous mercenary, condottieri.
Get out of here with your fancy languages.
Yeah. C++.
This is Java.
JavaScript. HTML.
So, do we have? Because so where we are with the character sheets is, as long as everyone's happy with their attachments, we can move on to effectively the last parts of the mundane character creation. So we've done languages. Next is equipment. Equipment is quite in depth depending on how much money you've got. So this is where I ask, did anybody take estate?
I did.
Okay. So how money works in the system is equipment costs either 0 or 5. If you've got estate of 2, you have starting wealth of 2. So if you look at the equipment list, you could choose 1 item that costs 2, and any number of equipment that costs 1 and 0. And that equipment that costs 2 is like your pride and joy. It's the most expensive thing that you've got. So for example, if you've got estate 3 and you can afford something with a cost of 3, that's like a suit of armor. That might have been passed on from generation to generation, and that'll be the most expensive thing that you own. If you have backing, you will have income, but that wouldn't be readily available until like later on in the story. So it's your wage, but your estate gives you your starting income. So if you have, did anybody take estate?
I took estate 1.
Yeah.
3.
Okay. Ken, did you take any?
No estate for me. I'm a working man.
You're a working man, but you've got backing as well, though, haven't you?
I've got what? Backing, yes, I do have backing.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm just going to scroll down, look at the specifics. Yeah. Yeah. So you would have an income of 1. So you could say that you've got a wealth of 1 as well. So after the break, we'll quickly go through equipment. And then once we get the equipment recorded on the character sheet, that's and then the combat stats such as the defenses such as dodge and parry, that's the mundane character creation done. So I reckon that's about 20 minutes. So 5-minute break, and that'll be enough time for you.
Cool.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
Okay. That's right. I'll see you in 5.
Okay. Well, that was fun, and we're back. Huh.
Got me right mid yawn.
I'll get you anytime we can get you. We're playing the we're character creating. This is a session 0 of the Linen Tapestry, and this is John's game that he made, and we're gonna do some play testing over the next few weeks, which we're very excited about.
Great.
And
Thank you.
Yep. Go for it. Tell us what to do next, because we don't know.
So the next section is equipment. So I put up links for the Severed Souls character that is on Discord, and that lists the equipment that your characters could purchase based on how much wealth that they've got. So Miller, your estate is 3, so you are relatively wealthy, so you've got wealth of 3, and then Bill, you've had estate of 1, which is a small stipend, and Ken is a working man, so he's just got a lowly wage, but he gets by with what he's got. So with equipment, again, I'm not expecting you to be able to get all fill in the equipment at this point, because it'll take a bit of time, and it'll be a case of I choose that, and then during the sessions you might change your mind and say, well, no, this weapon's more my sort of style. So I'm not expecting you to complete this section straight away. But the gist of it is that if Ken, are you able to pull up?
Yeah, he's got it up.
Got it up. Right. So in section 2.5, so it's character equipment. So if you scroll down to, it's 44. Well, it starts on page 40, and it goes down. So you've got, if you go down to 44, and that's table 252, that's equipment. It lists the weapons. So people have got melee, and you've got I think, Bill, you wanted to go for a fencing.
Well, it looks like all I can afford is a short sword, so I'll have it's a prize short sword. They took all my weapons away.
Yep. If you wanted to get more complicated, what you could do, so you could have, if your wealth is 1, you could have a long sword, because across from there, the long sword has a cost of 1.
Oh yeah.
And it's piercing and slashing, so depending on how you use the sword, you can use 1 or 2 of the styles. To give it a bit more depth to the system, if you scroll up to the first page under equipment, you got quality of equipment.
Yeah.
Everything that's listed there is standard quality. If you wanted to go a bit cheap, you could purchase a crude version of that weapon. So if you wanted to go for, if you wanted a weapon that was cost 2, and you've only got wealth of 1, you could have a crude version. It knocks the cost down by 1, but depending on what sort of weapon you're going for, it reduces its stats.
Yeah.
So the options are there. And flip side, if you wanted a weapon, you see a weapon there you quite like, but it's cost 2. I think, well, there's nothing else that I want to buy that would use up my 3rd rank in wealth. You could just say, I want a fine version of it. Increases the cost by 1, and it gives you choices, and you can tweak the weapon to your specific design. If that makes sense. So again, this is where the game adds a bit of depth, and it's up to you guys that if you've got the money and you want to go for it, you can make unique weapons for your character, whether it be weapons, armor, that sort of thing. So ideally, when players are making this, they'll have a copy of the book, just like when you're playing D&D. Everyone takes a turn writing down what their equipment is, and it's just one of those things where you record it on the second page of the character sheet under weapons, attacks, and you record the base standard stats like initiative, precision, hardness, parry on your character sheet, and then if you decide to make it crude so you can afford it, or make it fine to increase it, you adjust the stats accordingly. Okay, so I'm not expecting to go through all of this in this session. It's just a kind of an introduction. There's links there for everyone to have a look at, and if people don't have time until session 1 or session 2 when combat's involved, we can do it there and then. It's entirely up to you guys. Okay, so on the second page of the character sheet, you've effectively completed your combat maneuvers. You're putting in your weapons. If you can afford armor, armor is quite expensive, but armor keeps you alive.
No, where's that?
That's in the...
Is that
So
the next?
armor... Yeah, so in the bottom third of page
Oh, here
2,
we go. Yeah, I
you've
got
got
it.
your armor, initiative, penalties, health. Okay, so your armor, again, page 47 lists the armor. There's three levels: light, medium, heavy, and within each of those you've got, so for example, light armor, you've got clothing, leather jacket, reinforced jacket, each one a little bit better than the previous one, and that's just armor for your torso. If you want to buy a cap, again, it's light armor to offer you minimal protection for your head, braces, greaves, that sort of thing. So when you're buying your armor set, you are creating your own set. So if you wanted to go for, you can only afford medium gain shirt for your torso, you can't afford anything else, you could buy cheaper stuff. You could buy light armor for your arms and your legs, that sort of thing. Combat
Can you
system.
buy all the things with the one? Just like go bigger.
So to limit players so they don't go crazy, the general rule is, it's like for Miller, he could purchase one item that has a cost of 3, and then he could purchase any number of items that cost 2 within reason. He just need to buy the whole shop, and then and that restriction's even reduced for costs of 1. For people who start off with wealth of 1, such as yourself and Bill, you can only buy one item that's worth 1, has a cost of 1, and then any number of items with a cost of 0. So if you're poor in this setting, you are poor. You need to have some sort of other situation where you can get money to buy more equipment, or find more equipment, steal more equipment, that sort of thing. But at character creation, the wealth that you get from your backing or your estate is how much you start off with. Okay. So the last sections dips into the system itself. So underneath armor, you've got your initiative. So your initiative in combat, to determine who goes first, who comes second, third, fourth, and fifth, is based on your initiative. Your initiative is based on your acumen, how your mental reaction, how quickly you can think on the spot. So if you've got high acumen, you can think quick, you can improvise, you've got a high initiative. And then to offset that, if you've got armor, really heavy armor, that can reduce your base initiative. So at the first round of combat, it's all set. There's no dice rolls. It's just simply whoever's got the highest acumen plus armor that doesn't knock it down by much, they go first, and then it goes in order of initiative. When people act at the same time, they act at the same time, which might sound a bit strange, but it just means that if both players want to attack, they attack each other at the same time. They don't defend, they just attack. Just like when you're watching the films where characters in the film or the TV series stab each other at the same time, because they've decided that's going to be their action. So if you want to, you can record what your acumen is next to your base, and then later on when you decide to purchase armor, or if you can afford armor, you can adjust that accordingly.
So how does it affect acumen?
So your base initiative. So, for example, Ken, what's your acumen? What's your rank in acumen?
4. I got a
4. Wow. Okay.
4.
So your initiative is 4.
Yeah.
If you decided to go for a crude version of.
Well, yeah, I was gonna get a chain shirt, a helm, and a club. I feel like I can afford that.
Okay, so chain shirt costs 1. So you've got income of 1, so you'd have that. So chain shirt, there's no initiative modifier to that, so you're fine.
Yeah.
So your initiative, base initiative is 4. Yeah. As combat goes from one round to another, your initiative is changed based on your action. So if you go for a really heavy swing, or you're using a really heavy weapon, when you use that weapon, it'll slow you down. But it means that when you hit, you will inflict a lot of damage. So if you've got a different character, another player who decides, right, I want to be nimble, I always want to act first. So you can go for that. No armor, quick weapons, do a little damage. But if I can get in there quick and injure the opponent, they won't hit me. So that's one of the potential styles. Or you could just say, I'm going to go for the best armor, going to be really slow, hit me, you're not going to do much damage, and then I'm going to whack you, like the mountain from Game of Thrones. If you want to go for that sort of style, that is available for you. Okay.
I can't.
Well, starting character. I mean, you've got Brawn 4, haven't you? So you're huge. Yeah. So you're kind of like a foothill, not quite a mountain yet, but So on that sheet, so you got your base, so it's 4. Your action could reduce it by 1, so that next round's initiative you're on 3. You might still be faster than everyone else, or you might be acting at the same time as someone. So you lose that little bit of advantage because you're acting at the same time as someone else.
Sure.
Okay, so that's a brief overview of how initiative works. There's no dice rolls, it's fixed, except for your actions determine if you slow down or speed up or stay at the same initiative. There are combat maneuvers out there, a high level, where you can slow them down, like you daze them, that sort of thing. But that's as your character gets more and more into combat, you can control your opponent and they can control you depending on their stat. Okay. Sure. The next bit is penalties. So on your character sheet, again, this is to do with combat. So your dice pools as double your rank. So go back to you, Ken, speed 4. So if you're wanting to sprint, you would roll 8 dice. If you've taken any injuries, or you've taken any fatigue like concussion or anything like that, trauma, that can give you penalties. So that will reduce your dice pool. And the other thing is that every time you act in combat and react, you suffer from an onslaught penalty. So if you go first, you don't need to declare a defense. So the advantage of going first is when you act. So say you attack Miller. Miller can defend, but that increases his onslaught penalty by 1. So when it comes to his turn to act, he rolls at 1 less die. So that's the onslaught. But then if Miller's already injured with a penalty, those penalties accumulate. So if he's at -2 and he's had to defend, when he takes his roll, he's at -3.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. The next bit is your defenses. This is kind of like, in this system, the person who's attacking makes the roll. The defender doesn't. Try and speed up combat. So when Ken attacks you, Miller, you can decide which defense you want to apply. You could dodge, you could parry. If you've got unarmed, you can try and block. If you've got a shield, you can use the shield to parry, that sort of thing. So going back to, and this is something that I missed in the session, is for your expertises. So if you go back to the first page, on the right hand side of all of your expertise is this something called tally, and this is the figure that gets added or deducted from a dice roll. So your defenses is deducted. So if Miller decides to dodge the attack from Ken, he could say, right, for that one attack, I'm going to use my dodge. And he would deduct his dodge stat from it. So anything that's in italic, such as dodge, resistance, savvy, parry, etc., tally is reduced by your rank in the skill times the rank in dodge times 2. So go to you, Miller. What's your rank in agility?
3.
3. What's your rank in dodge?
1.
Okay, right. So it's 3 times 1 times 2. So your dodge is -6.
Okay.
Okay. For anything that has a plus next to it, it is just simply the skill times the rank and the expertise. It's not doubled. It's just skill times expertise. So, for example, piercing. So, Bill, what's your melee?
No, I'm not muted. My melee is 3. My
And your
piercing is 1.
Piercing,
So
right.
3.
So yeah, +3. Okay. So wherever you've got a rank in an expertise, you'd fill in the tally. If at this point you're thinking, oh heck, my dodge is quite low or your parry is quite low, and these are things that can keep you alive, feel free to tweak, move ranks around. Okay. And then as a quick reference, your defenses are just recorded next to your defenses on the second page, so you don't have to look for them specifically. On the first sheet, you can have them quickly visible there. So you'll only ever have 1 dodge. You can have up to 2 parries, and you can have up to 3 blocks. So your block is your unarmed rank times block times 2, and that's a minus figure.
Where's dodge again?
So on the front page, dodge is under agility. It's the very first expertise,
okay,
top
yeah,
left.
That's why I can't see it. Copy that.
So for the minus, it would be the skill or the category times the skill. No, the category plus the skill times 2.
So it's your skill times your expertise times 2. and
It's
that's
all
minus-
multiplication.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So if you had 3 and 3, your defense is minus 18.
Right.
That sort of thing.
I see.
So cover is to do with shields. We can come back to that if anyone wants to purchase a shield. I think the only person who really could possibly afford a decent shield would be Miller.
No, I don't want one.
You don't want not like a buckling shield or anything like that with the fencing style that's around?
No, it's just gonna go with the the rapier and dagger.
Okay. Right. No, that's fine. So when we do complete equipment, you'll notice that on the second page, next to parry, you've got 2 parries. That's based on the parry where you've got one hand and parry on the other. So you can choose which one of those you want to use when you're parrying, or you could just use the same one. It's just if your one arm's injured, you can't use that weapon to parry, so you'd have to use the other one. That sort of thing.
Right.
The last section then is health track. So this is a system where you normally attack the torso in close combat. There are combat maneuvers higher up, rank 3 and upwards, that allow you to target specific head locations. So if you want to trip someone up, you go for the leg. If you want to concuss someone, daze them, you target the head. If you're really good and you want to be particularly evil, you could just go for like an execution move and go for the head. Or if you've got, like, for example, in the piercing tree, you can stab someone, or slashing, you could start making them bleed. Hit them in the arm. It's easier to hit, or it's easier to get to that point in between the armor, and you can let your opponent bleed out. Combat gets messy. The whole idea is lots of styles available, but it's gritty. So rather than you just hitting an amorphous blob, you can get down to the point where you know how to take someone out. You've learned how to do it, and you do it again, and you do it again. And if that means tripping them up, and then blade to the neck, ask for surrender, that's up to you. So your health goes from -0 to -5. That's your penalties. However, the number of squares or health ranks under -0 is equal to your brawn. So, Ken, you've got brawn 4.
Yeah.
So you would just grey out the 5th column under -0. So
Where's that?
So on your second page at the bottom, you've got health.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, just grey out the whole.
Just the 5th column. Miller, what's your brawn?
1.
You got brawn of 1. Okay, let's let's just hope you don't get hit. So at the moment, I would just pencil out the 2nd to 5th columns. Bill?
Brawn of 2.
Okay, so you've got 2 ranks, 2 columns under -0. Now, it gets even worse. So depending on where you're hit, if you're hitting the head or if you're in the torso, and your minuses exceed your brawn, you fall unconscious, or that arm or leg becomes numb. So at the moment, Miller, you effectively have 3 columns before going unconscious. Not dead, just unconscious. So you've got 1 rank under -0 and 2 ranks under -1. But then after that, your character will go unconscious. Your character only dies if you hit -5 and then exceed.
Okay.
So again, combat brutal. Armor will mitigate the amount of damage that you take, but it's not the perfect defense. Not getting hit is a pretty good defense, but the number of times you can apply your defense is limited. So I think at the moment everyone can dodge one attack and parry a second attack. I don't think anyone has block.
I got block.
All right, so you could block a third one.
I have parry. My parry minus is 12.
Okay, so that means against one attack only, you would reduce it by minus 12. But once you've used that, imagine that they're cards that you can only play once per round. So if you're
why can you only parry once?
Because your character's not skilled enough, and it's the amount of time. So there are abilities out there, combat maneuvers that allow you to parry twice. So you can
only parry once.
At the moment.
Okay.
At the moment, you can only parry one attack. You can dodge one attack, parry the second, but if you're being attacked third time, you wouldn't apply any deduction.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then at the beginning of each round, you get everything back, and then you can choose.
I see. Okay.
So that is mundane character creation. I know. Have you got time to discuss, Bill, or are you needing to head off? Have you got?
Give me a moment. I'm negotiating this damned thing.
I'm more than happy to chat with you during the week.
So I'm teching right now. I have a few minutes, but I need to roll pretty soon. I don't quite understand the visual on health. I thought I kind of understood it, but I don't think I do.
Okay, so with combat, close combat, the default, when you attack someone, the default is the torso. It's the biggest part of the body, and so for people who aren't that well trained, you always go for that.
Right.
If
you have the tally minus, it's targeted attacks. I get it.
Yeah.
But I mean like I see this -0, -1, -2. I'm assuming that's as you're taking damage.
Yeah. So for Miller, if he took 2 wounds to his torso, he would then have a -1 to all his dice pools.
Right. He took 2 wounds. Now, I see what you're saying. So the idea is, so what I should do is cross out the first 3 columns.
Yeah, cross out the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th columns. Just grey them out. So the first column is blank for you to tick off if you take a wound.
I dig. I see.
Yeah. So for you,
I have 2 columns instead of before I go to -1.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, that makes sense. I get it.
Yeah. Okay. In range combat though, it's a little bit random. So when you roll to hit, you hit the whole body, but then you roll a d10 to see which part of the body that you hit.
I see.
It's only when you get better at ranged combat that you can have the accuracy to say, right, I'm going for the torso, I'm going for the head.
Got a 1, you hit your friend.
Yeah. I mean, if you're close together, that's in the rules, that sort of thing. So if you're doing a cold shot or a cold attack to the head or to the arm or to the leg, you apply that tally, that -20 to the head, -5 to the legs, -10 to the arms, that sort of thing.
I see. Okay. I see. All right, well, boys, I got to bounce. We will not be there next Monday, right? We're doing it the following?
Well,
we can do it. I mean, I can join via my iPad, and then Miller might record it.
Oh, okay. So we are meeting next Monday.
Yeah, if people are up for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me change this then. All right. Cool. Well, you guys continue. I just have to biz out.
Sure. No problem.
Thank you, John.
Cheers, Bill. See you later.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I've got some questions on the skills and expertise.
Yeah, of course.
So for the non-defensive ones, we take the ranks that we have in the skill, then multiply it by the ranks that we have in the expertise, and that's how we get our tally?
Yep.
Okay. So if I do that, let's say like investigation, like I put 2 ranks into investigation, and then nothing into any of the sub expertise underneath.
Yeah.
So is that 2 always multiplied by 0, and therefore
so you've got
much
0. Yeah.
So there's no reason to even have any ranks in it.
When you're investigating, so the system is in 5 steps. So the first step is your dice pool, number of dice that you roll. So the first step is pure random. It's at this stage you can botch. It's at this stage you can get really lucky and start rolling those 10s. If you roll any 1s, you discard those dice. If after you've taken away the 1s, if the immediate tally on those dice, and this is if you've rolled really badly or you've got a very, very small dice pool, if that's 5 or less, you've botched. And you go straight to the outcome. If you rolled pretty well and it's above 6, this is where skills come into play. Skills determines the number of dice that you keep. If you roll 10s, you automatically keep the 10s. So when you've got investigation 2, so for example, you're searching around, you roll your attention, you say you've got 6 dice. So attention 3, you roll 6 dice. You will keep at least 2 of those dice. If you roll 10s, you automatically keep them for free, and you keep 2 others. And you then, of the dice that you're retaining, you add them all up. You're not getting any bonuses because you don't have any expertise, but you are still keeping dice. So skills are just as important as expertise. Without an expertise, you can make the roll, but you're purely relying on rolling 10s.
Okay. I think I get it.
Yeah.
What's the difference between sleeves and bracers? Are they the same thing?
It's just I use different terms to distinguish them between the light and the heavy. But the braces or sleeves is for armor protection for your arms, and the greaves is protection for your legs.
Right. Okay. And is it? Could I have some sleeves on my thing, or am I going around walking like a wife beater? I mean, it doesn't cost anything. Like the cost is 0.
Yeah. If it's cost 0, everyone can take them.
All right.
Yeah. So were you thinking of? So medium armor.
Yeah, I got a chain shirt with sleeves. Is that correct? All right.
Yep. Yeah.
And they're all, it seems like it's high quality because I didn't take any, because I didn't pay for it. I didn't take any negatives for it, or it seems like it's the quality.
Yeah, it's hardness 1, soak 2. So it's
what does
very
soak
little.
mean?
So in the system,
this means when you're wet, it's harder to swim.
Yeah, water retardant. No, so how it works is you've got quite a high tally. So say you roll 2, so that's your base damage. 2 on your roll plus the damage from your weapon plus your speed or whatever stat is being used for damage. It's usually speed because it's to do with how quickly you strike. So you could be inflicting, say, 7 wounds. Hardness reduces wounds, so that it goes from 7 straight down to 6. What soak does is it converts wounds into trauma. So like when you're in plate and you're being hit by a weapon, the weapon's unlikely to actually pierce and do any significant damage, but your body is going to be shook by it. So on your character sheet, underneath health, you've got a fatigue track.
Yeah.
And that measures your trauma. Trauma could be from blood loss, it could be from blunt weapons, it could be from the armor converting what could kill you into trauma to your body. And as that builds up, that can also knock you unconscious.
The fatigue is on the second page, is that correct?
Yeah. Apologies again. I missed that a little bit. So fatigue is pretty sure it is resistance. Yeah. So
Do I just add like a little?
What are your character's resistance, Hallie?
How do you add that?
So if you look under athletics, so
is it
under athletics,
7? Is that a possibility?
No.
1.
So it's
how about 1?
So it's have you got athletics 1?
No, athletics 2.
2. What's your resistance?
1. So it's 3.
So that's no. It's always times. So it's 2 times 1. So that's 2.
2.
It's a defense. So that's 4. So your resistance is 4.
Okay.
So that means that underneath along from fatigue, you've got 4 ranks in fatigue. So you are built like a brick shit house, but you have next to no endurance.
Yeah.
So
well, sometimes that's...
I mean, that's possible. I've seen a lot of weightlifters who can carry huge weight, but when it comes to endurance, they've got none of it. So
you strike first and fast, and then hope that takes care of it.
Yeah. So you would have 4. So you've got 4 ranks at -0. And before moving into the minuses, that's for trauma damage. Again, from trauma from attacks, disease, poison, blood loss, that sort of thing. So like for you, Miller, what's your athletics and resistance?
Athletics 3, resistance 1, which gives me a -6.
Yep. Okay. So for you, your fatigue under -0 is 6. Again, if people want to tweak things once they realize that how it all works, go for it.
So if you had athletics at 3, that would make it a resistance of 6.
Sorry. Well, yeah. So if you had athletics 3, resistance 1, 1 is like rank 1. That's a 6. That's -6 for you, or for any defensive rolls for that, and then for the fatigue. So if you wanted to go out for like a character who could really survive a fight, you would just say athletics 3, resistance 3, and you've got 18 ranks. So it starts off quite low, but as soon as you dedicate experience points to it, you can find these stats soaring. Because if you're at the max, I mean, if you're up against a well-experienced character, they've got 5 and 5, so their defense is -50. So, and their resistance, their fatigue, they would have 50 ranks. They would be the epitome of endurance. But if they've got high ranks than that, they'll have low ranks than something else. That's all.
What is 2 and 2 if it was
So 2 and
athletics.
2. So that'd be -8.
Okay. And quickly, so if for instance I have an influence of 4,
Yeah.
but I don't have a resolve or authority or charm, how does that work? Or do I put?
No, if you've got at least 1 rank in influence, you have 1 rank in resolve.
Uh-huh.
So if you've got influence 3, resolve 1,
Uh-huh.
then your resolve defense is -6.
Right. So right. But I have no charm at all. So I would have to have at least 1 rank in charm.
No, you can still make a charm attack. You can still say, right, I'm going to choose to choose charm. It's just you're not adding anything to it. You can always make the roll as long as you've got the skill,
Mm-hmm.
or as long as you've got a dice pool. You can make the roll. Skill is how many dice you're going to keep, and your expertise it just gives you that extra boost.
Okay.
But unless like in the podcast, unless you're using Google Dice, you're going to get some 10s. So you're going to get something.
Yeah.
Plus whatever you get to keep could give you something between 10 and 30 points. And if you get an outcome of 30, if you get a yield of, if you get a tally of 30, that's an outcome of 3. That's an outstanding success. That gives you something.
Copy that. So, if say I have a perception of 3 and awareness of 1, what does that mean?
So it's 3 times 1 times 2, so it's -6.
Okay.
So your awareness, these defenses are if a character, an NPC or another player is making a roll. So for example, awareness is against someone who's trying to use stealth.
Mm-hmm.
Overlooked is used against someone who's on watch, someone who's using their perception. Evasion, which is under survival, that's used against anyone who's pursuing you through the streets. That sort of thing.
Okay. How do they relate to the stats, like your strength and personality and intellect? How do the skills connect with that?
Okay, so when it comes to certain roles, well, there's always a bit of negotiation. So if you tell me in the first step, so there's always, in the open hand, there's 5 steps. The first step is the dice pool. And this is where you say, right, I want to sneak up on someone. And so you could say, right, okay, I want to use, you say, right, I'm really fast, so I want to use speed. Speed doesn't really do anything with stealth. It's the opposite. I would say to you, you could either use your presence, as in your natural ability to control how people perceive you, so you can just fit into the crowd, or you could just say, I'm going to use control. I'm going to control how I move, how slowly I move. I'm not going to make any noise, and I'm going to move from one shadow to another. So that's your choice. So you would choose the dice pool based on what you're wanting to achieve. So you'd roll control, keep the number of dice equal to your stealth, but you've got a bonus in stalk. So whatever you've got in your tally so far. So the first step is your dice pool.
Right.
Second step is number of dice that you retain. And the third one is your tally. What are you adding to your tally? And this is where, if the player is role-playing and they're asking questions like, what's there around? They're asking questions of the environment. I can give them bonuses because they're role-playing. They're looking for somewhere to dip behind, so I can give them a bonus, maybe +5 to the tally, +10, whatever. Then you'd add the their expertise. But then on the other side, I can reduce the tally based on difficulties. Are you trying to walk quietly on broken glass? Is there someone out there who's on watch? What's their awareness? So those minuses are the difficulty of the roll.
Right.
The fourth one is you work out your final yield, which will either be 0, which is a fail, up to whatever you've added up. So say after all of that, you've got 25. You keep the first number, so you've got a yield of 2. And that yield of 2 determines your outcome. It's competent success. You succeed. You've managed to do what you set out to do. There's no extra bonus. It wasn't an outstanding or an exceptional success, but it wasn't also a partial success. A partial success is you do it, but there's a little bit something wrong. Like the next thing that you do could be a -5. You've managed to sneak, and just as you're leaving the room, the door slams shut. You forgot about that last bit, so you left the room unseen, but the person on watch thinks, right, what the hell was that? And then they'll go inspect the door, by which point you could have moved on. But that partial success counts against you on your next roll or the next thing that you do that's relevant.
Yeah, I think I think we would need to roll it out for me to understand it.
Yeah. But now, how much time have you guys got?
I've got a minute. Got a minute?
Well, what I was thinking... Couple of minutes. All right, okay, we'll probably leave it, but something to think about is the magical character sheet. In the playtest, you're going to be mundane characters. You are ordinary people. You don't know anything about the Great Cycle. You don't know about the Severed Souls, magic, demons, angels. You know nothing about that other than common knowledge of angels and demons, that sort of thing. You don't really know what's going on.
I do have a 3 in the occult.
Oh, that's the mundane occult, but that would help you piece together certain truths. So, at any point during this story, there is at least one occasion where a character could become a severed soul. A severed soul is where your character stops being mundane. Your soul is ripped and torn, severed from the Great Cycle, and you are no longer bound by the rules of the mundane realm, or the real world. You can then perform magic, and through your soul, you can perform spells, you can summon your soul, you can perform rituals, that sort of thing. Now, I'm not going to say which pathway, I'm not going to say which character it could happen to, but it could happen. So, for the benefit of if it does happen, you guys will need to have an idea of what sort of severed soul you'd become. So, there is a second character sheet, which was the magical character sheet, which I linked on Discord. But there are certain things just to think about. The first one is your element. In this game, there are 8 elements. In addition to the 4, earth, water, fire. Earth, water, fire, air. Yes. So in addition to those 4, you also have body, electricity, metal, and wood. Nature. That sort of
I was
thing.
looking at that. I had no idea what it was. I thought that was like sin or something, and I'm like,
No. So your soul, once it becomes severed, it carries with it a few things. One of them is an elemental core, and this elemental core is where your power springs from. So when you're performing tricks, your tricks are based on one of those 8 elements. So if you're if your soul is metal, then your tricks influence and affect metal. If you want to move a sword by the power of your mind and your metal, that's easy. Once you get to that power level, you can just start flinging metal objects around. If you want to have like a metal radar so you can spot where things are, if you want to distort, create, all those sort of things is possible with experience, but you are focused on the element that you are, that your soul is linked to.
Interesting.
Your soul, the second thing, the soul also carries a purpose. There is a reason why your soul chose you at that point to become severed. It's usually a moment where your soul deems you worthy enough and thinks, oh, I have to do something to stop him from dying. So I will sever myself from the great cycle so that once he survives, you can then go on to fulfill the dream. So this being a one-off, it's not really relevant. But for campaigns, this is what gives all of the severed souls their purpose. So it can either be on your character sheet, you might have filled in an ambition. That ambition could then manifest into this dream. So if you had an ambition for setting up your own bank, international trade, you could turn that into, that's your dream. That is the sole purpose of you becoming a severed soul. That's all. So that's the second thing to think about. The third thing is your soul itself. So it's separated from the great cycle. It exists outside of reality. But when it gets summoned into one of the three realms, it takes its own form. And this form can either be an artifact, weapon, armor, a wand, talisman, something that gives you, the character, a bonus so you can carry it. It'll magically appear in your hand once you summon it, and it'll perform magic based on your element. So if you've got a sword but you're fire, then you could have a sword that ignites in flame. If it's water, when you attack things, you could just say, right, it freezes them. That sort of thing. Second one is something called an ushum, which is a hybrid form where your body is swapped for a half human, half creature. Like, think a werewolf, werebear, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The third one is a familiar, where the soul enters the realms and it can take any form as a small creature. With time, it can develop into a larger creature. But it's your traditional, which is black cat, an owl for a wizard, that sort of thing. Don't have to follow any norms. It's just whatever you want it to be. And the fourth one is a horde, where your body is replaced by a collection of creatures. It could be small snakes. It could be small birds. Bees. Yes, the bees. Not the bees. Good old Nicolas Cage. So, again, this horde serves you, and as you develop it, it can split into different cohorts so that you can view multiple things at the same time, or you can use it to attack people. It's the choices are there, but this is for if during this one-off story your character becomes a severed soul, there are things for you to think about, so that in that moment, imagine you've got pinnacle of power, the ultimate power for one scene based on your element, what your soul wants to do, and your form of your avatar, and you can do it. Because it's that moment that'll keep you alive, or get you into a position where you need to get through to then succeed. So, if you only got a few minutes, we'll leave it there. But I just wanted to chuck that in because there is the possibility, and I'll speak to Bill later on, but but it's something there for you guys to think about. And also for anyone who's watching, if your character starts off as a severed soul or a red hand, then you would do the mundane character creation and the magical character creation, because one of the curses laid down on the severed souls in the mundane, the real world, is your connection with your soul is diminished either during the day or during the night. So so for like 12 hours you're a demigod, and then for the other 12 hours you're just a normal person. So yeah, then that's one of the bits that we may not touch upon in the play test, but it's important, because at any point, just so long as a player isn't deliberately, I'm going to try and get myself killed because I want to become a severed soul, that won't happen, because the severed soul's just you're an idiot.
It's gotta fit.
It's gotta mean
you gotta
something.
be heroic. Yeah. You gotta do the thing.
Yep. Yeah.
You gotta make it.
So
that's
the
work.
rationale.
You gotta survive.
Yeah, that's the rationale behind why your character is an immortal demigod.
Yep.
There you go. So,
well, I think it's a good division. It's a good, an interesting development of stats and stuff. What kind of, like, my last question, I think, is a big one. What kind of knowledge do we need to know about the lore, or is that going to reveal itself as we participate in our daily tasks?
Yeah, I didn't want to do a game or a one-off or a play test with you guys as mundane, as a red hand, because I'd rather have you discover the setting as you discover the system. So as far as what your characters need to know, Miller, you're from outside, you're from Florence, so I can give you some background knowledge on the situation in Florence, so that when your character's in Venice, you let me know how long that character's been there for, and I can give you more information. Attachments is so important for me, because straight away when you mention that you're going to be the Medici, there's a major character who's the Medici, and that ties you in straight away with a possible second story. Because if this introduction's not meant to be long,
Right.
There's, of the 3 threads, you guys are covering 2. So one of the threads I don't need to touch whatsoever. So this story could get done in 2 sessions, and if we're up for it, the 3rd and 4th session could be a second story. And your connection with Florence could be relevant then. So for me, Ken, for your character, that he's a city guard, but he's had experience. He's got a network that spans nearly all of Eastern Mediterranean. I want to know more.
Yeah, the traveler. You just, you
could.
It's like when you work in a retail store, they just kind of like send you around because you're good at something. You got what do they say? Travel well and carry a big stick. I mean, that's this guy.
There you go. Yeah, that's your family motto. Yeah, carry a big stick. So, Mel, have you got any questions? Is there any aspects of the character creation where you're thinking it's bloated, it works, some ideas, some bad ideas? I know it's only been like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever, but any feedback from either of you?
Not really. I have to see how it plays.
Yeah. Okay.
I just have to do it a little bit, and then I'll be able to see how it syncs together better.
Yeah. No problem. What I might do is send you private messages with information. Like, I'll send you information about Florence, about a certain character that you might be linked with. Ken, I mentioned...
I think, let me clarify, it's tread lightly and carry a big stick is the term.
Oh, right, so tread lightly.
That's my motto.
I suppose. Ken, I will... Yeah, private messages to you as well. That's what I love to do.
Yeah, excellent.
It's like, do you ever play like Cthulhu or Vampire?
I've played
once the espionage and the intrigue gets involved, it's secrets. So
I played them a long time ago. One of the things that I've done in prior role playing games is, they like there's the idea of write a secret and 2 lies about yourself, or like write a secret, a lie about a rumor, and a lie about yourself.
Cool.
And then give that to the arbiter or the game master, and have them, work that into the story. Sometimes that is a way that the person telling the story can have a little bit of knowledge, which I think
I like to try and get a bit of that in with the attachments, so that if people have got sins written down, then I'll know what I can use against them. Their sins are secrets, ambition is secret, that sort of thing. But should we leave it there? I think we've.
What is it? Just glutton, the 7 deadly sins, or just any sin, or
no, it's
picking your nose?
7.
Okay. do we need 1 or 2?
The second sin is just mainly there for if you don't have enough attachments to make up the 5. So you need one at minus 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. So I think the priest, ironically, had to have a second sin because he didn't have enough attachments. So that's going to be an interesting priest. So, yeah.
I've got 4 attachments, so... And can I use mama as an attachment?
Well, you'd have your family. That could be mama. Yeah. So family is a given. Ambition is another one. At least 1 sin. And then the other 2 should really be from allies, cohort, organization, or patron.
Yeah.
So, all covered.
Okay.
Brilliant. Well, I am fascinated with all 3 characters, and it's going to be interesting to see how this one goes. So, more than happy to leave it there, and then see you next week, next Monday.
Yeah, next Monday.
Yep, over here.
Brilliant.
Thanks for tuning in to session 0 of the Linen Tapestry, this mini campaign that we were kind of throwing together with myself, Bill, Miller, and John. Thanks to all lowercase letters, Mr. Interrupt, Couchfire Media, Tori Blade Productions, and John for putting together this super cool game. To